Okay, review numbers 1 through 3 to start off with. We are evaluating each function as we did in our notes today. So remember, we're going to plug in for number 1, letters A and B. We're going to plug in x as 0 and then x is 5. So here is where we're going to plug in 3 times 0 minus 10. 3 times 0 minus 10 is going to give me a negative 10. And then I do the same thing here, but I'm plugging in x is 5. 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 10 is 5. And then jump to number 3, then I'll come back to number 2. Same thing. I'm plugging in x as 0 wherever I see it, and then do an order of operations. 9 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0, and I've just got a plus 7. And then 0.5, might need to get your calculator on this one. Plug it in as exactly as you see it. 9 times 0.5 plus 7 minus 3 times 0.5. And eventually when you plug that one in, actually, let me do it myself because I was looking at my answer key and I don't know if that is the same answer. It is turning out to be then 10. Now number 2 is a little weird because there's not an x to plug in there. And because there's not an x to plug in for that, because it just says 6, this is translating into us having what we say is a constant function. We're going to talk more about that over the next few weeks, but because there is no x to plug in, that's already equal to then 6. Number 5 is the other one we asked you to do. And on number 5 is going back to our last unit, our last topic before our break in September. Sorry, not September, in December. The linear regression equation for the data is given here. So somebody's gone into the calculator and plugged this in. And they ran the R value as well, the correlation coefficient. Considering then the scatter plot, the correlation coefficient, and then the residual plot, will we have a linear model as appropriate for the data or not? And as I look at those, the correlation coefficient is not too bad, pretty close to 1, so that's pretty strong. And the scatter plot in line of best fit, I can definitely see a line happening here. I mean, I do have a couple kind of odd characters, but I can definitely see that linear trend. But then when I look at the residual plot, the residual plot's then tell me not so much because I'm seeing this U-shaped pattern, that curve, and because of that, I'm going to say no. A linear model may not be best since the residual plot has a pattern which implies possibly not linear. Even though the correlation coefficient and scatter plot are showing a strong linear trend. So that residual plot's kind of that final nail in the coffin, as we've said. I'm looking for to see if there's a pattern there, and there is, and that tells me that it's probably not going to be linear. All right, we'll pause it there.